Good morning, guys. Welcome to Running Reimagined. For those of you that don't know, my name is Dylan Hopper. I come out with tips every single week to help give you a tip or trick to improving and hopefully over time transforming your running experience. All right, so today's morning show is all about pacing and how to be able to master pacing and why that's important. And just before I get into it, I'm going to go to the page here. I'm going to make sure that I share it so then more people can see it on my personal page. If you've received value over the last 7 days, if this is the first time, over the last 7 days, I've gone live, just sharing tips and tricks. So if you've received any value in the last 7 days, please hit the share button so then we can reach as many people as possible and really help connect the running community across the world and make this a kind of a global network and platform where we can just help each other out and share our tips and tricks. All right, so this is an exciting topic to talk about. I love pacing. I love teaching pacing because I think it's so crucial. Not only to the race that you're running. I think a lot of people, when they think about pacing, they think about the race that they're about to run, and they think about trying to not go out too fast and run, that steady pace, that minute per mile, minute per K pace throughout the entire race. And yes, that's what it is, but what I want to talk about today is how you get there. How do you be able to, because if you don't know how to practice it, if you don't know how to train your body to be able to run that pace, then you're not the chances of you going out and doing it in the race is pretty slim. But I think you'll hear coaches tell you all the time to be able to slow down and run your pace and figure that out. So I kind of have two different kind of concepts to talk about today that you can be able to take and use directly into your running to be able to kind of master the skill of pacing. And that's really what I think pacing is a skill, because not only is it important to understand your race pace, but it's also important to understand your easy pace and your moderate pace. And so then on those easy days, I think it's far too common that people on their easy days will overtrain because they don't either train with kind of like a heart rate monitor, they don't understand like maybe perceived effort, and so they just over the course of the run, they'll maybe start out really slow, and then by the end of it, it turns more into a moderate run. And so I think that's why I think pacing can be so effective, because it's really, really important to run your easy runs really, really easy. I'm reading the book 80-20 right now, and I don't know if I've heard someone explain it better, the value of running easy on your easy days, and really stressing that point. So kind of the first tip I have today, first way you can help kind of associate yourself with pacing and start to understand it better, has to do with the feel, association within the body. So you don't need any equipment for this. This is just pure, self-recognition, self-awareness of how your body's reacting to the run that you're doing. So it could be the easy run, it could be a moderate, it could be intervals, tempos, it could be whatever. But how is your body reacting? So the way I would train athletes in this is that I would usually have them do some sort of workout where everything is kind of simulated. So I'm going to have them run a certain pace, and I might even run it with them. And all I'm going to have them do is they're just going to kind of focus on, what their cadence feels like, what their foot kind of impact on the ground feels like, what their breathing feels like at kind of the beginning of the interval, the middle, kind of towards the end of the interval. So, and then as they progress through the workout, really just start to pay attention to those cues, because as you'll find, if you can really start to feel it out, your body knows. Your body has an internal clock, and so it knows the pace it's running. And it's kind of like, I like to compare it to other sports. When you compare it to, say, like basketball, when you watch a basketball player take a shot, if it's a professional player, he's the best in the world. He knows exactly if that shot's going to make it or not. And so I think what this is trying to do is associate whether you're running that right pace or not, whether you're maybe too slow, whether you're maybe too fast, and then you can be able to kind of just adjust off of that. And so that's kind of the first kind of tip I have, is to be able to associate yourself with the body. If you can put yourself in kind of a simulated environment where you're trying to run a certain pace, and then just continue to do it over and over. You don't need to watch for this, but just become very self-aware of those cues. Two things that might help you become self-aware of these cues. One is, I think, meditation. If you don't have meditation a part of kind of your practice, it's usually not something that's talked about in running necessarily. I think running is its own form of meditation, but just meditation in itself really gets you kind of in tune with your body, especially your breathing. And breathing's so important in running, and not too many people talk about properly breathing, and that might be something I go live and talk about at another point. And then the second thing that you can do outside of running is yoga. And I think yoga is good for several reasons beyond just becoming in tune with your body. It's also it can be strength training, it can be cross training, but yoga can really help you get in tune with your body, and you'll start to, especially because it's very slow and you have to be very patient throughout the process. And that's really what running is as well. I mean, we all know that, especially when we first started to get into running and we're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go out and run, my first half marathon. We realized that running isn't that glamorous thing, right? I mean, it can be tough, it can be hard, and it can be long. Like the training, it's just there's a lot of time where we're not doing or thinking about a whole lot. We're just kind of going through the motion of training. So I think yoga and meditation, those are two ways that can really help you get in tune and very self-aware of your body. And then if you can translate that to, as you're going through your easy runs, your moderate runs, your workouts, and as you do them week in and week out, start to pay attention to your cues within your body of how your body feels at those certain paces. So how your body feels as your feet impact the ground, how fast does your cadence feel as you're running, your heart rate, what do you feel your heart rate, how is your breathing, kind of all those little patterns and cues. It seems very very specific, but if you can really pay attention to those things, it can really help tremendously understand pacing. And if you can understand it not only in your workouts and your race levels, but then you can also understand it at your easy runs. And if you can run your easy runs easy, then your whole training is gonna be transformed, because you're doing everything right. Where I think everybody works hard in the workouts, but they don't work hard at making sure that the easy runs are controlled and patient, and so then they're not running say a moderate pace at the end. So that was kind of my first tip. That's usually what I do to help people initially kind of get used to and master the skill of pacing. The second thing that I do, and this you'll probably need a watch or a timer or something for, and is interval training. And going back to, I compared the basketball analogy before. I think interval training is the same thing as really anything you're going to do. In practice makes perfect, and you just need to do repetition. It's really the only way to understand and experience the different paces. One, so then your body knows how you feel. But then two, if you have a watch with you, or someone maybe timing you doing intervals, you'll have practice of doing it again and again, and you can be able to control that. So say maybe your mileage isn't really high right now, and maybe your workouts aren't super long, but you could do maybe 60 seconds of, I would probably go to like a track or have like a set distance that you've measured out, maybe in a park, and do that set distance of, say, like just 60 seconds at say your goal pace, and just feel it out and see how it feels. and then just do it over and over and over. And it's really funny. The first few are going to be off. Like you're going to, get to the end of that 60 seconds, or maybe the distance that you chose, say it's 300 meters, 400 meters. And you're going to be probably high, you're going to be low in the first few, but your body has that internal clock, like I said earlier. So it knows that it's trying to focus on running that, whatever that goal pace is for you. So it will adjust as you try to focus at the same time. And by probably the third, fourth, fifth interval, you're going to, be hitting that pace pretty consistently. I loved watching workouts in college when we'd watch, whether it was a higher distance group or a lower distance group, especially in track. The coach would tell us to hit a certain time. He might say hit 27 for 200 or something like that. I ran the 800 in college, by the way. So he might say that. And for the first one, we might be, high. We could be like 29. Then the next one, we could be like 26. But eventually, like, we hit it, and we were just on point, and we could hit it within, tenths of seconds of each other. And I really think I had worked with a high school group. They had worked on this as well, and I ran next to them and tried to get them to focus on the association within their body and then the interval itself, and just practicing that over and over, having a watch on them so then they can figure out pace and time and distance. And they totally, you could see not only kind of their betterment in getting to the right pace, but also their confidence level just took off, because now all of a sudden you're in control, and that's really what pacing is. It's putting you in control at all times. I mean, because then you're in control of your easy runs, you're in control of your moderate runs, and you're in control of your fast runs. So the second tip, I wrote on my notes over here, and I didn't bring it up in interval training, is when you first start to do this, slow it down. So maybe don't go your goal pace or your date pace, the pace that you're running today. Slow it down. One, because you're not going to be as tired throughout the process, and so you can be able to do more repetitions. And then two, it forces you to be patient, and go through the reps, really understanding it. It allows you to spend that extra energy up here thinking about these different processes, and then you'll be able to, as you speed it up, it'll become more consistent. So that's kind of what I had today. I felt like this one was good. I loved talking about this. I loved teaching it. So please message me, comment below if there's anything you liked. Comment below if there's something that maybe helps you pace. If we can be able to help each other, I really think that's the best way to go. So if you guys enjoyed this, please hit the like button. If you have any comments for me or messages, please comment below or message me on the Running Reimagined page. I really want to be able to create videos that help you specifically. People have been messaging me over the last 7 days that I've been live, and I've been able to understand better, how I can help certain people, and I think the people that have messaged me and I've gotten back to them, they've received good value out of that. So please message me, yeah, that's kind of what I have for you guys. If you enjoyed it, again, please hit the like button. If you know somebody else who would benefit from this, please share it with them. It's my goal to be able to help as many people as possible, and I really think that using this social media platform is the best way to do it. So take care, guys. Have a great day and have some great runs.